Good evening, everyone. Good evening, participants. Welcome back to the session. Right, we will continue. We will start in another 2-3 minutes. Right, so hope I'm audible. Right, so we're just waiting for others to join. We will start in another 2-3 minutes. Right, everyone. Good evening. Welcome back to the session. Right, so previously we've just begun with the introduction to what is cybersecurity, what is ethical hacking. Right, and then I told you that from today we will start off with operating system installation, how to start using Kali, what are the virtual machines that we will be using, what all things are required for us to set up. Right, so we will discuss about all of those things. Okay. So the last topic which we had covered was something related to the IP addresses. Right, there is a something called as a public as well as a private IP. Right, so a public IP is something which is commonly available over the internet and accessed over the internet. Right, so it can be found, and it's gonna be the same for say all of the users on a same network. Right, and then a private IP is used for assigning computers within a private space. Right, to find out the details about the private IP, we have to search for ipconfig, or else we have to search for ifconfig. Right, and the same thing, if I wanted to find out about my public IP address, then I would have to find it by going on google.com. Right, so just that I will find what is my IP address.com. Now to change the IP address and then relocate or change our geolocation by changing the IP address, we use a VPN. Right? So we use a VPN network. For example, I had used the Touch VPN. Okay. So I'll just show you what happens in that, and then we will quickly start off with the Kali installation. Okay, Ayushi, the notes of yesterday's class, it will be shared to you. I make sure by after this session that you get it, including that entire PPT, whatever we discussed today also. Right, so let me just share my screen first, and then we can just continue. Okay, right, so here, if I just go into this place and search for what is my ipaddress.com, right, so this is going to give me the IP address, right? So I'm in a different location than I was yesterday. So it's going to give me that this is my IPv4 address, this is my ISP, this is the city, and then the region and country. Okay. So now what happens in here is if I wanted to hide this IP, then what do? I just go to this option in the top right corner, right? And then I will just click on this thing. And in here, I will switch my location probably to Canada or the United States. Let me just connect this. Right? And then let me see if it is actually going to change the location as well. First of all, we will see what about the IP. Let me copy this and then refresh this. Now let me just see if it is changing the location along with the IP as well. That's I've tried to refresh it here. Let's see what happens right now. Okay, so it's actually giving me this option of no internet. Right, so let me just disconnect this and check again. And then it's able to access this internet page. Right, so I'll maybe try out a different location and then let me see what exactly is going to happen. Still haven't downloaded Linux yet. Okay, Arvind, no problem. Please try finishing it by today, like before next session, because today I'll show you how to install the things in Kali Linux, how to install that Kali Linux things, and what all things are going to be used in that. But from the next session, we'll be doing everything practically. Today also we'll get started, but please keep it ready by the next session. And so let me just try putting it on another IP. I don't think it is going to respond because I've connected to a server which is this thing, right? So it's a different server, not my home server. That's why maybe there is already some restrictions which are already set. Okay. So yeah, so you see here, it's gonna give me an error. Probably if I change this to my hotspot, then it will not give me an error. If I change this and check from my home's Wi-Fi network, it will not give me an error. This is because there was a portal into which I had to log in and then use this internet, right? So this is not my home's Wi-Fi. That's why it might not just allow me to change, but for you, if you just try to do the same thing, it will allow you to change it. Okay. So the next thing what we were discussing is about what is a public and a private IP. After this, let us just see what is Internet protocol. IP is a protocol and a set of rules for sending data packets so that they can travel across network and arrive at the correct destination. Right? So the data traversing in small pieces is called as data packets. Okay. So IP has got different versions, that is IPv4 and IPv6 protocols. Right? So what happens in this IPv4 and what happens in this IPv6? IPv4 is a fourth version of Internet Protocol. It is one of the core protocols for internet working methods. It's a standard. And then using IPv4, right? So most of the things are assigned to IPv4 public addresses itself. Now coming to the IPv6 part, right? So this IPv6 part is that of a more recent version of the Internet Protocol. And then here the communication protocol that provides identification and location for computers on networks, right? So why are we using this IPv6 when we already had IPv4 is that IPv6 has a huge amount of addresses when you compare it with an IPv4. Right? So IPv4 has a restriction that only 4.3 billion addresses can be there in IPv4, but IPv6 has got an option for much more than that. Right? So that's why this is more feasible, and here you can have lots of people having their addresses online. And then coming to the other option of how is the IPv4 address, right? So what is an example of an IPv4 address? Then I can tell that this is how it is written. Right? The first IPv4 address, it is represented by a decimal notation. Right? So here it's written as 131.153.40.106, which is the decimal notation of an IPv4 address. But then this is not really understood by the system. That's why it has got a binary notation again, which is converting 131 into just zeros and ones, right? So once this is done, you've got dot 153. 153 is also again represented in binary, and then the 40 also is represented in binary, and here also it is represented in binary, that is 106. Right? So how are these things found out? How is this thing getting converted into 131 or 153 in the IP addresses is because we use something called as a 8421 code. Right? So 8421 codes is nothing but something which converts all your numbers. Say if I take an example for 8421 code to represent 0, this is how it is represented. And then to represent 1, this is how we represent it. To represent 2, this is how we would represent it. Also to represent 3. Right? So I would give 0011. So basically, whatever is the value in here, I would have to write down the value. Say if I wanted 10, I would have to put 1 under this and 1 under this because this is 8 plus 2. 8 plus 2 becomes 10. So I had to put 1 under this and then the other one under this. So I'll just put 1, 0, 1 and then another 0. So this gives me 10. Okay. So similar to this, you just go on after 8421. Previous than this, we will have 16, and then before that, we will have 32, and then before that, we will have 64. Right. So these are the numbers which we will have. Okay. And according to this, we are going to have our code. That is 131 or 104 or 40 or 106. So totally it is 32 bits or 4 bytes for this IPv4 address, right? And then IPv6 has got a lot of other values. It's not just represented by using dots. It is not in this exact format, right? So what is the difference between these two things? IPv4 has got 4 bytes. IPv6 has got 128 bits. So 1 byte equals to 8 bits. You can just convert. You will get the value or how many number of bytes. And the total range for IPv4 is 4.3 billion. This is 340 undecillion possible addresses. Right, so this is how huge the value is. Okay, established in 1981. Since then, we have been using IPv4. In fact, even now we are using IPv4. IPv6 is established in 2012. Right, so this is 32-bit address size, 128-bit address size. Okay. So now we've seen about public and private IP. What is the MAC address? MAC address is the physical address or a unique identifier assigned to a network interface card. Okay, MAC address is your permanent systems address. Right, so there is this thing called as physical address. You get this address when you search for ipconfig/all. It's going to give you the physical address of your machine as well. Okay, right, so this is about MAC. Next, right, so what is a proxy? I think we already discussed a little bit about this. A proxy server provides a gateway between the users and the internet. It's a server referred to an intermediary because it goes between end users and the web pages they visit online. Right, so very similar to this proxy, we have got the VPN. Right, so we've seen what is a VPN. Instead of working with single apps, VPN does the same work as a proxy, but for every single app or every single website that you visit. Okay, your IP address is hidden and replaced with the IP address of your VPN provider, right? So that is what happens in a VPN when compared to a proxy. Pretty much this is only for restriction for one site. This is a restriction and security for all the sites that you visit. Right, so that is what is the difference. Okay, which is better? VPN is better because it provides you with better privacy and security by routing your traffic through secure servers. And then there is an encryption as well. Okay. Proxy, it passes your traffic through a server but does not offer any extra protection layer. Okay. So other than that, we just need to know a little bit about HTTP as well as HTTPS. Right. So what is this HTTP? What is the port number for it? What is HTTPS? What is the port number for it? And what is the difference between these two things? Right. So HTTP stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. HTTPS stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol Secured Connection. Right. So the first one is running at port number 80. The second one on port number 443. Right. So what happens in the encryption in here? Right, so we use something called as an SSL encryption or a TLS certificate. SSL or TLS certificate is what makes your website secure by converting it from HTTP to HTTPS. Right, so what exactly happens? I've given an example in this next slide. So if I were on a HTTP website, then what would happen is on this, if I enter some password, right, then what would happen? Right, so if any person is trying to access this without encryption, the hacker would read or see exactly this thing. But then on an HTTPS, what would happen is the hacker, instead of seeing it as ABC123, the hacker will see some other thing. Okay. Right. So what exactly is this? HTTP and HTTPS is understood from here. Okay, so the next thing is we need to know a little bit about what are APIs. What is application programming interface? Right, so application programming interface are a set of functions and procedures that allow creation of applications, accessing data and features of other applications. So basically it allows one application to connect to another. That is what an API does. Right, so in this API, these APIs enable developers to connect to the world of objects. It helps in communication between the interfaces. Right, so that is what an API helps us to do. There are various APIs like your WhatsApp has got an API, your Telegram has got an API, If you use some cloud computing resource, it has got an API. If you use all of these things, every single thing has got an API. For text messaging, we use Twilio API. Like your example, WhatsApp Business uses the Twilio API. Okay, so APIs are used pretty much everywhere. So how does Google use APIs? Say if I search for something like webinar, okay? So I think I will have to disconnect this VPN. And only because there was a login portal and other things for this, that's why it will not allow me this VPN option. Because if I'm on hotspot, it should allow me, or if I'm on my home network, it should allow me. But here, no. Okay, so how is an API being used in here? Right, so you see this option, you see there is a protocol which is HTTPS, right? Right, so HTTPS and its method, HTTP method, as soon as you click browse for something, you request the server, it will fetch the data from the data center and it is going to give you back a response over the internet back to your computer. Right, so that is what an API does in an HTTP. Now, what is the role of an API in here? Right, so there are four parts. There is something called as a protocol, the domain name, the function, and then the parameters. Right, so this is the function. These are the parameters. Right, so till here is your parts of your API. What is it? Protocol, domain name, function, parameter. Right, so after that, whatever is there, I can just remove. So basically, this is telling that search for this keyword on this Chrome browser. Source ID is Chrome. The format of the text used is UTF-8. Right. So even if I delete this and press enter, it's gonna give me the same exact output. Right. So this is the part of an API. Right. So if I just do this, I'm going to get different sections. Okay. Fine. So there are various APIs. Right, so there is something called as a REST API, wherein you have got this HTTP GET, then it's POST. Right, so GET receives information, POST creates an API, PUT updates an API, delete deletes an API. Okay, for making changes to the APIs, these are the four things which we will need to use. And so just coming to the networks which are available, there is personal area network, local area network, metropolitan area network, wide area network. Okay. Now coming to the concept of what is a virtual machine. Right. So what is a VM? Right. So yesterday I was telling you a lot about what are VMs and that we will be using VMs and how exactly to use these VMs and what are VMs. Right. So VM is also called as a virtual machine. Right. And then how is it different from cloud? Right. So or how is it different from the VMs on machines or on systems, right? So the VMs in the system, right? What happens is that they are not going to go online, whereas the VMs in on cloud, right? So they will be available and accessible by anyone trying to open them, correct? So we will be creating a virtual machine that is of Kali Linux on system and not on cloud. We will be using it locally. Okay. Okay. So there are so many things which are included in a virtual machine, right? It's like we have to attach the network adapters. We have to use the operating systems have to be given. And then we also need to give the different types of adapters. We have to enable the sound. We have to enable and set the display values. Right after that, we also have to say put in the operating system. All of these things are done in here in the VMs. Okay. So how is it different from cloud? It is just that it is offline and then it's not really online. So cloud, it's going to be your VM is going to be online, but here it is not. Right. So coming to the VM which we are going to create, that is the VM for Kali Linux. Right. So you will have to download and install this Kali Linux software. Right. So we're not going to overwrite. Right. So this software, what we will do is we will just use it as a virtual machine, which means that it's going to take separately one part of the space. Okay. So to begin with, the steps to install Kali Linux, right? First is to have this Oracle VM VirtualBox, right? So the first thing which we require. Okay. So after that, we also require Kali Linux, right? So this is the operating system. Inside this, yeah. Inside this, we get all of the tools which are required. Okay. So to install and set up Kali Linux and VirtualBox. Okay, actually this link is not required. Yeah, you haven't got the PPT, right? So it will be updated because I have no idea where exactly to share. I have checked. They will let me know after today's session and accordingly you will be getting the PPT. Okay. It will be conveyed to me after the session and accordingly we will act and then share you as soon as possible. Okay. Ratna, I've checked with that also. Even that thing will be informed. And so you will be updated regarding both of those queries. Now first we will just go ahead and then try to install Kali Linux. Okay. Okay. So let me just go to downloads. Okay. Let me just go to Kali. Yes, today's session will end at 7 p.m. Okay, kali.org. Okay. So this is an open source Debian based Linux distribution. Right, geared towards various information security tasks. Right, so just clicking on download, it will ask you to choose your platform, which is for virtual machines. Right, so here I will be downloading the, that's a 64-bit. This one, it is 3.7 GB. Okay, actually it's gonna take a little time. So I've already got this thing downloaded. Fine. Okay. So then that you all have got your operating systems downloaded. And so this is the file that you are going to get. Just press enter. Okay. So here I've got a .ova file. Right. So for this, first I need to install VirtualBox. Right. VirtualBox. Download. And in here select Windows host. And so it will download a file of almost 103 MB. Okay. Now that I have VirtualBox, right? It's like I've already got VirtualBox pre-installed. I also have got Kali Linux file downloaded. Right. Okay. So in here now, how to install this Kali Linux? Now that you have downloaded and installed what is there in VirtualBox, right? So first I just open up VirtualBox, right? So let me just open up this thing, Oracle VM VirtualBox, right? And then in here I will have to make a few changes. That is, change the fine, right? So change this back. Uh, 1 second. Okay. Right. So you have to go in here. Just a second. What happened? Okay. Okay. Voice stops. Dhruv, I don't think there is an issue there. Just a second. How do we get the recorded video? Okay, this thing gets seen. Yes, this PPT will be provided to you. Okay, this thing you have to install on Windows first of all. Right, so once you install VirtualBox on Windows, you will get this. Right, so how to install this VirtualBox after downloading that 100 MB file? Right, so you just click and then click on next, next, next. It will install the VirtualBox. Okay. And it's like once you have got this, you will not have all of these options like Ubuntu, Kali, Win 10, and Mac and Kali. Again, you won't have all of these things. For you, it's gonna be black, right? So once you don't have any of these things, you will have to update all of the, like you have to update or create one new virtual machine. Right? So in this virtual machine, we are now going to add Kali Linux as our virtual machine. Right? So I will just click on this option. Nothing from this VirtualBox app. I will go back to that .ava file which I had for Kali Linux in the VirtualBox, right? So I will go back to that, and then from there I will actually open up that file which is having an extension for VirtualBox, that is .ova. Okay, so I will just go to this PC again. It's in my downloads already, 2021.4.virtualbox. It's a 3.62 GB file. Right, so just double click on this. It should extract and then open up in VirtualBox itself. This file it should do. Okay, Kali Linux can be downloaded in mobile. Shweta, yes, there is something called as Kali Net Hunter, or you can also use something called as Termux for mobile users. Right, so you can just go explore. There is something called as Termux or Kali Net Hunter for mobile. And then suggested that if you've got a laptop, use it on your laptop itself. Okay. So it's just extracting everything. So what we can do is I'll just cancel this, and even better, I will just go back here and then extract this probably onto the downloads folder, right? So that's what I'll do. Is there any further cybersecurity course after completing this? We will keep you informed if there is any. Right, so this is going to end, I think, on 25th according to the schedule. If there is any after this, we will keep you informed and then we'll let you know regarding that as well. Okay. And so quickly, I want you all also to do this, like extract this file, extract this .ova file, and then use that file to open. Just double click on this .ova file, and then it should open it up in VirtualBox, right? And then it automatically starts its installation, right? So quickly, we will just do that step. Okay, how to install Kali? First, download VirtualBox from here. Right, how do I share this link with you all? Send to all. I guess you have got the link. Similarly, go to this link and then click on again send to all. We should have this. Is there any mock test for the exam? Rohan, we will let you know if there is any. As of now, I haven't been communicated anything with respect to that. It's only the concepts that we will be covering practically. Right, so if there is some mock test or exam, we will let you know. Okay, so now I think this has got extracted. I'll just close this, right? So let me close this as well, and I will go to the downloads folder. Kali Linux failed to open in VirtualBox. I'll tell you why. Right, so we should now have a file like this. Correct, 2021.4 VirtualBox -amd dot amd 64. Right, so this is something how we would have the file after extracting this. Okay, now if I just double click on this, right, so it's going to ask me all of these things, like a few details about how to import this virtual appliance, right? So the name in here, I can just change this as well, right? So I call it as Kali underscore OS, right? And then machine base folder is this. MAC address policy, I can just include all the network adapters. Please select include all the network adapters and then give import. Right, so all you need to do is just give agree. Right, so it will import the virtual disk image like this. Now coming to one error which you might get, right? So it is like, right? So there is this very common error which says something about virtualization, right? So we are going to get a virtualization error, right? So it says hardware acceleration is not available or Kali Linux failed to open in a virtual box, right? So all of these things will happen, right? So it's a problem with hardware virtualization in the acceleration software. Okay. Now what should I do? Okay. So first step is to check if your CPU supports virtualization, right? So we need to see if it supports virtualization. Okay. So now in here, what happens is you can use a program, search for a program which just tells you if there is a virtualization. Right? So how we will do is we will not use this. We will use a simple thing, right? Doing it manually, right? So there are two options. One is by using some program, right? So we will do it in this step manually. First thing is we will try to create a virtual box. If it is giving us this error, then what we will do is we will just search for this thing. Right, so Intel or just virtualization enable BIOS. Okay, video was jittering very much, couldn't see anything. Okay, right, from my end everything is working perfectly fine. Please refresh the page once. Right, so how to enable virtualization? First of all, right, so if your system is having an Intel chip, right, so then you will have an Intel virtualization technology. By default, it is going to be in disabled. You have to turn it to enabled. And so once this is enabled, where do we get this? What is the screen? Anyone has any idea what is the screen? Is this your BIOS setup? Have you seen something like this? This is the BIOS setup. How do you access this? right? So once I shut down or reboot my system, right, immediately by pressing Del or Escape or F8 or maybe even F2. Okay, so that is how we actually go into this BIOS setup. And here we have to enable the virtualization technology. Not necessary that every time it has to be Intel. It can be any virtualization technology. Okay, fine. Okay, once your virtualization is enabled, you can just restart your computer or restart your laptop and then continue with your installation from, right? So you need to continue your installation, like you just have to reboot and then it is going to come to this place, then just import this thing. Okay, so let us just wait for this 1 minute. It's still taking a little bit of time. Yeah, F2 or escape also works. Okay, now that it is done, right, so it took a little time. Right, so now that this thing is done, what we will do is we will quickly go to settings. Okay, and then we will just make a few changes. Right, so by default, this is in bidirectional. Need not worry much in the basic and advanced of the general. Right, so system, I will just increase the RAM to just this thing which is there in this green part, around 5 GB. Okay, out of 8. So if you have got an 8 GB RAM totally, you can give around 4.9 or 5 GB. If you've got a 16 GB RAM, you can give almost up to 10 GB of RAM for your virtual machine. Right? And then if you've got even more, you can give more than half. You can set the number of processors from one CPU to two CPU. Other than that, it will say invalid settings. And acceleration, nothing in here. Display, you can just put in whichever memory you want, how much ever you want. Right? And then monitor count is just one. Storage, there is Kali Linux already added. Right? Audio, there is my Windows Direct Sound which is used. Right? For the network, now comes the important part. Right? For the network, what we will be using is we will just be changing from a NAT to a bridged adapter, right? So preferable that all of you keep your network adapters enabled and set it to bridged adapter, okay? Because whatever things we do, maximum of those work perfectly fine in a bridged adapter, right? So whatever practical we are doing. Just in case it doesn't work here, only then we will shift this to NAT, right? So please remember, this is very important. In the bridged adapter, right? So it means that the VirtualBox gets its own IP address. Whereas in a NAT, NAT is network address translation. And so in a NAT, it masks all the network activity. Right, so that's why we prefer to use the bridged adapter. Okay, so in bridged adapter, you'll have various options. Like mine is the Qualcomm Atheros wireless network adapter. Right, so some of you will have some other thing. Right, and then at the end there'll be one Realtek PCIe GB family controller. Okay, so I'm just going to select this option which says wireless network adapter Qualcomm Atheros. Fine, so once this network adapter is enabled, right, so if you want you can enable the serial port, right, and then there is a USB 1.1. You might not have these options. Okay, right, so that is a little bit about your virtual machine. Just click on start. Right, so we will be logging into this Kali Linux itself, and then we'll be using all the things from here itself from now on. Maximum of them, we're going to do it in Kali Linux only. Right, so this is how Kali Linux is booting up. I've just put in the image file. I'm not really installed anything. It's gonna do that. Right, so this is called as live booting. Without really installing, we're directly going to use Kali. Right, so it's now booting up or starting. Okay, it's just gonna take a little time. In the meanwhile, if you've got any queries as to how to start this, you can just let me know. Right, so in the next session, we will begin with what are social engineering attacks, right? And then in that specifically, we will be doing something about phishing. Right, in case of, okay, already other VM installed, what can I do for Kali installation? Abhishek, even in mine already there is a VM installed. In fact, I've got 2 versions of Kali already installed. This is the third instance which I'm running, so it's not going to be a problem. You need to install Kali version of VirtualBox 64-bit Navratna, not VMware. Hello. What do we have to do before network setting, right? So before network setting, you can just increase your RAM and then check. Failed to import error, Sugosha, please go to your BIOS setup and then enable Intel virtualization technology or whichever is the virtualization technology. Enable that, and after that you can just continue to use. Okay, failed to open a session. Right, so whoever is getting this error, failed to open a session, right? So you have to go to your BIOS. How to go to BIOS setup? Restart your laptop and then search for BIOS. That is by giving escape or F2 or F8. Search for your BIOS setup key. Can we find the recording of this session at Meta Buddy? Just a minute. Okay. You will be getting your live recorded sessions via email. On your registered email, it will be sent. Right, so those who are getting failed to open a session for virtual machine, please follow this step. Okay, one last thing is that you just need to access or open the virtual machine in here. The username and password is Kali and Kali. Right, so Kali is the username, Kali is the password. So I will just do this, Kali and Kali. Right, the steps are nothing but extract the file, double click on it, just give OK. Other things, even if you don't change right now, not a problem. Right, so it will just import and load everything in the settings. Only change you have to do is change this network to bridged adapter and select the first option, which is that. That's all. And so all these things you can just leave it. RAM you can just increase it for faster speed. That's all, you can just leave it as it is. Only network you need to change to bridged adapter. Okay. So here you will have the Kali Linux. Right. So this is your Kali Linux desktop. Yes. We'll be sharing this with you shortly. Like before this next session, you will have all of these PPTs with you itself. And so we'll try to get it done by today itself. I will just be ending the session now. You please try. Any queries in the next session, again, we will cover. By the time you will have the recordings and you will have the access as well. Okay. Thank you for attending.